stirring emotions,
implanting visions, inspiring minds.
Welcome back to Word Power, guys. I am your host, Fayula Gordon. And I do hope you've had a very delicious main course, and now we're moving on to our dessert. Her name is Angela Williams, and I do hope you enjoy her personality. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So tell me about yourself. How do you define Angela Williams?
Angela, if I could describe her, she is a very dynamic, multifaceted person with the embodiment of Christ.
Okay. So Christ is what speaks for you?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been a Christian?
Well, I was baptized at age between 12, 13, but I backslidden, and then I came back, recommit my heart to the Lord 2003, and I have been going with him for 11 years.
Okay.
But you would fall and you rise. You fall and you rise, and you brush off and you go back, and you keep it. You keep the faith.
Okay.
You never lose your faith.
So that would be your advice to persons
Yes.
who... Okay. Tell me, you said you started writing poetry at age 15. What inspired that?
To be honest with you, in terms of age 15, that would be when I was in school and we had an English teacher who would give us limericks to write.
Limericks?
Limericks. Limericks are like 5 lines,
Oh, okay.
where 2 at the top rhymes with the last line at the bottom, and the 2 in the middle rhyme together. And I would master that art, craft it, and from there, the works that I start doing, turn in, like real poetry. But before that, persons would tell you that I write foolishness.
So when did you actually decide to take poetry seriously and said, yes, this is what...
In my adult life.
Okay. Tell me about your successes as a poet.
Wow. To God be the glory. I remember when I start writing, poems that I consider to be more adult. You move from the childish, well, and I met this wonderful, fascinating woman, Dawn MacGregor-Bromfield. She was having her own poetry.
Audience, so you can say hi.
I honor her. Hi, Dawn. And she was hosting a poetry event. And I was invited to this event, not knowing that I was going to meet this woman. And I went there, and when I saw her, I wasn't published yet. And when I saw her and I was watching her doing her piece and gliding, along the floor and saying her piece, and I was like, wow, I want that. Wow. And I was just wowed, I was just wowed by her performance, the way she carries herself, and how she articulates and the words just flow. And I said, me have to copy that. So I went home and I stood in front of my mirror and I take out my piece of poem, them on piece of paper, and I start to read them and I start to look in the mirror and I start to glide and I start to pronounce my words and everything, trying to sound like Dawn, and all of that. And then somebody said to me, why don't you publish? And then there was this gentleman who I met at her event. He said to me, you can publish. And I said, I'm just an office attendant. I don't have the money for all that. And he says, I can sponsor you for a start. And I said, thank you. And that's where it all started.
I have this book for you. It's entitled The Call of the Poet. Tell me the story behind of it.
The call of the poet is a call coming back to the Lord. Hearing him, calling me, talking to me, through the power of the Holy Spirit, whether in dreams or going to church and something the pastor says, resonate in my spirit. And the Lord literally takes me through a drill or through the school of the Holy Spirit and for say.
What would you say your main message is to deliver to, you want to be delivered to the audience?
Well, my main message to them would be this. When you hear the Lord calling you, tugging at your heart, don't harden your heart, just answer. You know, Samuel did that, and the Lord worked through him and brought deliverance to Israel. Now, you may never know if you reject the voice of the Lord when he calls you, if he's calling you to save Jamaica.
Okay.
So answer the call.
So this is reflective in all of your pieces?
Most of my pieces.
Of your pieces.
Most.
All right. Or we have a tradition here on Word Power to give us one word that empowers you. Give me the word that empowers you.
It's so many, but I'm a prayer warrior. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. In terms of warrior for the Lord.
Okay.
Yes. Prayer warrior.
There you have it, guys. Miss Angela Williams. I do hope you enjoy your piece.
Creation by Angela Williams. Heaven hung suspended. Earth formless, empty, as the Spirit of God hovered, brood upon the face of the deep. Light, energy, splendor and majesty clothed him. He wrapped himself in light as with a garment and sat enthroned above the circle of the earth. Then God spoke. Words formed like crescendos went forth, flawless, like apples in the setting of silver. Wind became his messenger. Flame of fire ran throughout the ends of the earth, ushering Mother Earth into being. By God's wisdom, earth's foundation set unmovable. By his understanding, he set the heavens in place. As our womb opens and gives birth, nothing becoming something. Something turning into huge drape like mountains with boundary lines in place, sheltering nations from the storm. Beauty everywhere. By his knowledge, the deep were divided, and clouds let drop the dew. Soil makes sprouts comes up, causes seeds to grow. Fruit trees, vegetations, living creatures, birds of the air. Ocean, cool, crystal like springs flow from his chamber to replenish and restore his creation. God's invisible qualities, his eternal power made plain as Mother Nature came into being after 6 days. She uttered groans no one understood but her Creator. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament show forth his handiworks. And God says, it is good. Then God spoke, let us make man in our own image, in our own likeness. Creation poised in hungry, expectant mode, yet savoring its sweetness. The hand of God sculpted his first masterpiece, 2 in 1. Pure dust made flesh, fresh, untouched, undefiled, laid before Elohim, fearfully and wonderfully made, arrayed in robe of righteousness, clothed in a garment of salvation. As he breathed his breath into man's nostril, spirit making connection, deep call it unto deep, to the roaring of his soul. Intimacy forged, man became a living soul. Thus, the heavens and the earth were created in all its vast array, and God rested on the 7th day.
I do hope you've had a very delicious dessert. Now, today we'll be ending with a quote from Pearl Bailey, and it reads, "You cannot belong to anyone else until you belong to yourself." I am your host, Fayula Gordon. Until next time.
Word power.
Stirring emotions.
Implanting visions. Inspiring minds.